Hi guys, welcome to M&E Made Simple. I'm your host Coach Alexander. How to write a monitoring and evaluation report. I know I've been missing in action for a very long time, but I'm so happy to be back. It's been a really busy period, guys, and I hope you understand. But moving forward, I'll try as much as possible to post regularly as I used to do. But thank you so much for supporting this channel, and let's get straight into business. So for those of you who are here for the very first time, my name is Coach Alexander. I've been doing this for 10 years now. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to this channel because on a regular basis, I post updates in relation to monitoring and evaluation. Now there's something I've been running, we've actually been running. It's the access to the 12 M&E courses. You can actually access these by filling in this form. The link is in the description below. But I must tell you guys that you need to pay something. It's not a bad thing to pay because it's a small token that can help you go a long way. So if you think it's something you can pay for, please, you're welcome. Another important thing that I've been talking about is also the 6 months coaching program. This has been running. I'm very happy that a lot of people have been coming to enroll in this 6 months coaching program. It's a very good program, and if you want to learn more about it, please download the brochure. It's in the description below, and it's totally free so that you get to know about the 6 months coaching program. Okay, as usual, there are timestamps. This video is quite long, but I'll try to keep it brief, but it's usually quite long because I need to explain a few things about the monitoring and evaluation report. Okay, so what are we going to look at today? First, we're going to look at what the monitoring and evaluation report is, how do you compile it, and the 5 tips to write an effective report. Okay, so please watch this video from start to finish because if you are new in the M&E field, this might actually save your life. Okay, so what is an M&E report exactly? Okay, sorry about that. You know, the truth about this is that it's not actually an M&E report, but we just say M&E report probably just to let everybody know in the organization that we're talking about a report to do with that is produced by the M&E officer. But the truth of the matter is that there are 2 types of reports that you deal with. So the one which you report on a regular basis, could be monthly, could be quarterly, semi-annually, is the monitoring report. And why do we say monitoring report? Because this is done on a regular basis. So what this means is that as the M&E officer, you are directly involved in the actual compilation of this report. But now when we come to the evaluation report, it's not you, the M&E officer, that comes up with the evaluation report, because the evaluation report is done at certain points in time. We've got the baseline, which is also an evaluation. So we've got the baseline survey. Out of that baseline survey is a baseline report. I'm sure you've seen organizations who hire external consultants to do the baseline. They'll hire an external person to do the midterm evaluation or the endline evaluation. But I must also mention that there are certain cases when you have the M&E officer actually conduct an evaluation, and that is what is called an internal evaluation. And this is a report you don't actually share to stakeholders. It's just for your internal use so that you prepare yourself for the real evaluation where the independent person comes in. So the role of the M&E officer in the compilation of the evaluation report is just to come up with a terms of reference of how the report should look like, and also work hand in hand with the independent consultant in its compilation. So not that you write it, no, but you have to provide the relevant information that the consultant might need from time to time. Okay, let's go on, guys. Now, let's go to the compilation of the reports. So, like I earlier mentioned, the monitoring report is done by the M&D officer. Could be the M&D officer, M&D specialist, M&D coordinator, manager. It could be one of those titles who do this report. Now, in the event, now let me break it down to you. Let's say you have an organization structure where you have the M&D officer and then the manager and director. It's still the M&D officer that does the monitoring report, but the manager and evaluator will do the actual review and approval of that report. Then it will be forwarded to senior management. Now, the evaluation report, like I earlier mentioned, it's purely the responsibility of the external person. Now, how often is this compilation done? Because monitoring is done frequently throughout the project implementation, you'd expect that the monitoring report will be compiled on a monthly, quarterly, or even semi-annual basis. So that is something I am expecting you M&D professionals. Don't wait for your supervisor to tell you when to do this report. Start working immediately you enter a new organization. The evaluation report is at specific points in time. So I explained this because evaluations are done at specific points in time. They are not done regularly, and for good reason, because they can be expensive, but also change doesn't happen on a regular basis. Okay, so that's why you have specific times when these are done. Now, in the compilation, I want you to keep in mind that the monitoring report can take this format that is presented there, but so as the evaluation report. Now, I want you to underline this point. Because the monitoring report isn't rigorous as the evaluation, you don't need to be so detailed with the monitoring report. You don't need to write pages and pages of content to do with the monitoring that was undertaken, because you're really just reporting activities, outputs of the interventions that you have done. So there isn't really, I wouldn't say, it's not that there isn't much to do, but it's just that you're just reporting numbers compared to the targets. And if you have not achieved your targets, you have to explain why you failed to achieve your targets. But with the evaluation report, you'd expect that report will be detailed. It's rigorous. It's like a research, and that's why you have someone external to do it. Okay, so now let's look at the 5 tips to writing an effective M&E report. So I'm talking about a monitoring report or an evaluation report. So these are 5 tips I would like to share with you. I would like to share with the world. How do you come up with something effective? Now, the first thing you must understand is that stakeholders are interested in whether the project has made any progress, and progress can only be seen from the indicators, the relevant indicators that the project has been designed for. So don't move away from that. Some people are very good writers, I know, but you need to understand that there are key things that people want to know about, and it is those things in the project document. So stick to those things and it will all be good. Trust me. The second tip is the use of jargon. And I know when I say this, a lot of reports out there, once you are reading them, your eyes start to water. Why? Because it's difficult to understand. You keep on scratching your head. What does this thing mean? And if you give it to an academician at the university, they'll obviously know what it means. But to a layman, it may not be so meaningful. Now, that is not to say that we shouldn't be professional in the way we write these reports, but we should keep in mind that there are different stakeholders who are reading these reports. And I want to believe that the simple it is to understand something, the better, because then you are able to clearly undertake an intervention because you understand things clearly. So that's something I want you to think about as you write the report. Keep it as simple and concise as possible. Another issue is when you're writing the monitoring report, like I mentioned earlier on, don't have a report that is like an encyclopedia. Because honestly speaking, sometimes when I'm tired, I just don't like to read. But that is not to say I don't like reading. It's just that sometimes we need to cool down a bit. So the issue is that try to stick probably to 10 to 15 pages, depending on also the number of indicators that you are reporting on. Another important tip is to have a concise conclusion and provide adequate recommendations. The conclusion of a report is critical because it will give the reader a sense of what are you saying at the end of the day. Once you conclude on a report, then it's even easier to come up with recommendations. Did we achieve our targets? Yes or no? So you put that in your conclusion. You mention it looks from the findings we can conclude that our targets were not achieved completely. And you mention the reasons and you provide recommendations for improvement. Another important tip, and the last one but not the least, is to have an indicator tracking table in your document. Now, an indicator tracking table, for those of you who don't know it, it looks something like this. What it does is you have all these indicators that you want to measure. So each of these indicators obviously have their target. So what you'll be doing is for each indicator, you'll be looking at the values for each year. Okay, so what this means is that this indicator, you put it there. Let's say it's percentage of income earned. And in the start year, maybe the income earned was $100. So you have your target that maybe in year one, you should earn $120 and so on and so forth. So what this does is that you have your target, but also have what you've gotten in the field as a result. What did you collect? What were your findings? And then it will help you track. You know, it's interesting when you have this in the monitoring report, because then the reader will get a sense of whether you're actually moving towards your target or you're moving away from it. Okay, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this presentation, interaction with you after such a long time. I want to urge you to write to me. That's my email. And in case you have any questions, please let me know. don't forget to enroll in the 6 months coaching program. Until we meet again, I've been your host, Coach Alexander, and see you on the other side. Bye.